This is a story time about the time that I found out that my dad had a secret family in another country via a psychic. Yeah, so basically what happened was my mum called me one day and she asked me if I'd be interested in seeing this psychic. And I explained like I wasn't really interested. It's nothing that I had thought to do before. I wasn't really spiritual back in the day and I just didn't really believe in that kind of stuff. But she explained that they had already paid for it because for one of my mum's friends' birthdays, they decided to do like a psychic reading night at my mum's house. And they had already pre-booked 5 spaces and one of the friends couldn't come anymore. So it would be the following night. And I thought, well, if it's already been paid for, I don't know, it might be like an interesting experience. So I thought, okay, fine, I'll do it. So the next night I go down to my mum's, and when I get there, everyone's like sitting in the kitchen and they're going one by one into the living room to get their readings done like individually. So it was like private. And then it gets to my turn and I go in and I'm chatting to the lady and I am super skeptical and I am trying to like not give her anything because I'm thinking, you know, psychics, they just do a really broad reading so that you're obviously going to relate to something and then you're going to cling on to that and somehow make it relate to your life. So I am literally being like completely like emotionless. I'm not giving her anything. I'm just like, yeah, no, you know. And we're talking for a little bit and then she goes, so there's you and there's your sister. And I'm thinking, yeah, like there's photos of our family around the house. Obviously, you know, I have a sister. And then she goes, and there's a third. And I'm like, a third? And she's like, the third child. And there is no third child, it's just me and my sister. And she doubles down and she's like, there is definitely a third. And I'm thinking, okay. But then I did remember that my mum sadly lost a baby in between me and my sister. Like she was quite far along and due to like a medical emergency, she had to be rushed into life-saving surgery. And so the baby couldn't be saved. So I'm thinking, is that what she's talking about? And there wasn't really any way she could know of this other baby. It wasn't like a thing that was talked about in our family a lot. And unless, like I was thinking, maybe she'd seen my mum before and something had come out about that. So that's what I'm thinking that she's talking about. She goes on to say some more things and we're just chatting. And then she goes, do you know a Jack? And obviously Jack is a super common name in the UK. But I actually didn't know any Jacks. We didn't have any Jacks in our family. So I'm like, nope. And again, she doesn't go off and try to say a James, a John. She like doubles down. She is like, it is Jack. Do you know a Jack? And I'm like, no, I don't know a Jack. So anyway, she goes on and she says some other stuff. And then the very last thing that she says to me is, a Jack in the box is going to come out and surprise everybody. And I'm like, okay. And I don't know, like, is it because I didn't say the word, like I didn't say I knew a Jack? Is she trying to make the word Jack fit? Like, and then in a couple of weeks or something, if something surprising happens, I'll go, the psychic said a Jack in the box is going to come out and surprise everybody. But, you know, whatever. So, you know, I'm probably talking to her for like 10 minutes-ish. I go back out to one of my friends. I tell them all what she said. You know, I sit with them a little bit longer and then I go home, thinking nothing of it. So a couple days later, my mum calls me again. And this time when I answer the phone, she is literally like sobbing, like can hardly speak, crying, you know, trying to speak through the tears. And she's just telling me to come to the house. And I'm like, oh my God, like what's wrong? And she's like, just come to the house, just come to the house. So as I said earlier, like my mum had some health issues. Like from when I was born, my mum had always had health issues. So I'm thinking it's something health related. She's ill again. She's been diagnosed with something or something serious is happening with her health. So I'm driving to the house. It's like a half an hour drive. I'm like so anxious. And I get in the house and my mum is just like sitting on the settee and she's just like uncontrollably sobbing, like literally just sitting with her hand on her head, just like literally sobbing, like can't speak to us. Like me and my sister arrived and she's literally just sitting there and my dad is just like standing in the room going, it's okay, everything's fine. And I'm like, well, clearly not everything's fine, like what's going on? And he's literally like, everything's fine, sit down. And then my sister was like, what the hell? Like, tell us what's going on. So I sit down next to my mum, and my dad just goes, I have a son. And I'm just like, what? And I know this is a weird way to react maybe, but I literally just like laughed. Not like, ha ha ha, but like, are you joking me? And don't get me wrong, I always thought my dad was a dick. Like, this wasn't necessarily a crazy thing to imagine him doing. He was not a good guy. But still, that's just not what I was anticipating today when I arrived in that room. So anyway, my dad is crying and he's trying to explain and blah, blah, blah. And I'm literally just like, whatever. I'm literally not having any of it. I'm calling him, you know, a lot of names, and I'm telling him how disgusting and pathetic he is. And I'm just trying to console my mum. And we stay in that room probably for a couple of hours. It's kind of a blur, as you can imagine. It was a highly stressful environment in that room. And I stayed there with my mum for a bit, and then when I'm talking to my mum later on, I'm like, oh my god, like, what happened? How did this happen? How did this come up? And she literally is like the psychic, and I'm literally like, because at this point I'm not even relating the two, because it's just like information overload in my brain. So I'm literally like, what? And she's like, yeah, the psychic. She's like, when you left later on, I was having dinner with the family, like my aunts and uncles and my dad and stuff, and she was like, when I relayed the story of what the psychic said to you, I looked at my dad, I don't want to say his name, my dad, and she said he looked like he'd seen a ghost. Like, he was literally like, what? And she thought, no, that is just not right. She had that intuition, that gut feeling that something was going on. But rather than just like say it directly, she was like, let me be tactical about this. Because my dad is a very manipulative person. Like, he can get away with stuff. He can switch on the crocodile tears like that. So she was like, let me think about the best way to get this information out of him. So she waited until a couple days later when they were going for Sunday lunch, and she waited until he was literally in the middle of his dinner, and she just said, do you have a son? Just straight like that, do you have a son? And he was like, and she's like, that means yes then, obviously. She's thinking he's gonna say, oh yeah, you know, there's a baby been born in the last year, like he has a son that's like a baby. He goes, yeah, he's 10 years old. And my mum's just like, what? Like, the last 10 years of our relationship, you've had another family in another country, and you've been going between the two. Vile. So basically, yeah, that is what the case was. So then that's when my mum calls me and my sister and is literally like, come to the house, there's something crazy has happened. And I'm literally, when she's telling me this, that it's because of the psychic, I'm like, whoa, like, this is nuts. And then, for the actual most crazy bit, what do you think the kid was called? What do you think the secret 10-year-old son was called? Jack. Literally Jack. And when I realized that and put all those pieces together, I was literally like, what? He was called Jack. And listen, I know it's a really common name. I know it is. I know it's a common name in the UK, and there are a million Jacks, and it's not crazy that my secret brother, it's not crazy that I have a secret brother, not necessarily that it was called Jack. But the fact that the psychic said there's a third kid, and do you know the name Jack? Like, how would she know that? This family, they were in Vietnam. The kids were half Vietnamese, and they were raised in another country. How would the psychic know about this? Literally. Like, when my mum said this story to my dad didn't believe it. He thinks that one of his work colleagues snitched on him and told my mum. And my mum was like, nobody did. This psychic thing happened. And he is literally like, okay. Just this tiny piece of hair. He's literally like, yeah, okay, sure. And it literally was. Like, that's what the psychic said. And I'm still not saying, do I believe 100% that she was definitely a psychic and she knew this information? But I totally believe that this was meant to happen. The woman pulling out because she was ill so that I could take the space. Because I'm telling you, my dad would have gone to his grave with this information, and we would have been finding out this second family in the will. You know what I mean? On his deathbed. But yeah, it's fucking nuts. Crazy, right?
I want to know what you would do if you were in my position. Okay, so a little backstory. My grandmother, she passed away in July. I've made other videos about this. I was very close with her. I was one of the only people that she was close to because all of the other family members, all of her 6 kids and all of their kids or grandkids, all abandoned her, shunned her, didn't want anything to do with her. We're not even going to get into those theories of why, what. Just know this. All of her 6 kids, all of them, drug addicts or alcoholics or wife beaters or child beaters. All of them, including my mother. The months leading up to her death, my younger sister, who I have always been extremely close with, my best friend in the entire world, like that person that just gets you, yeah, me and her all the way. Like, so she asked me, should she start up a relationship with our grandma again? I have been having a relationship with my grandma for years, but she wanted to know, should she? I told her, yes, give her a call. She would love that. She's so lonely. She has nobody but me. Like, please call her. So she does. When my little sister called, she's 24, my grandmother hadn't heard from me in about a week. Now, my grandma's high maintenance. She wants you to call her every day, baby. She's old and old-fashioned. So when she picked up the phone, she hadn't talked to my sister in years. She didn't know it was her. She thought it was me. So when she answered the phone, she's like, why haven't you called me? I could have been dead. Because that's just how she is. And my little sister was like, it's me, it's not her. So whatever, they talk. My sister calls me and she goes, she's evil. I want nothing to do with her. Just her tone, like I can just tell, I sense a deep evil within her. I don't want anything to do with her. I said, you took it personally. She thought it was me. Even though she thought it was you, it's still wrong. Like she just got an evil energy. So she made the conscious decision not to speak with my grandmother anymore. Now, my grandmother, like I said, passed away in July. She left everything to me. My sister, the day that my grandmother died, was asking questions about her will. I'm going to have to make a part 2.
I feel like this is important because we have a cousin in our family who just doesn't really plan anything. Like they never really plan. They show up kind of like on a whim, unexpected, or just kind of have always had this pattern of being like, oh yeah, I'm coming, and not really taking into account anyone else's schedule, that people have lives and you're intruding on them. Like that just does not occur to them, or it does, and like it's just kind of like whatever, well, everyone will kind of move their schedules because we've set this pattern where we have like always accommodated this person. And this person has kids. They are in their 50s, so they're not young by any means. And this weekend I kind of had my last straw. Like I was over it. So this person tells my mom to ask me if I have time this week to spend with them and their family if they are to come up to New York and visit. And I'm like, no, I actually don't have time. Like, I'm about to leave for my bachelorette. I'm heading to Austin this week. Like, I have a million things that I need to wrap up before I leave that are work related. This isn't just me sitting and having fun. And so this is like a really bad time for me. What I'm more upset about is that this person always goes to my mom. Like, they don't call me. Like, we're both grown adults. You can call me and we can find a time to hang out. Like, I would love to hang out on a week that I'm able to be present and enjoy your company. And I would love for you to meet my fiance. Like, that hasn't happened yet. And I want all those things to happen. But like, I just can't do it when you are using my mom as a mediator to get to me. And you're kind of disrespecting the fact that we all have our own lives. And you're also putting this burden on my mom to get back to you and then come back to me and go back and forth and convey these messages, and that's not fair either, you know? And then it gets me and my mom in a fight because I'm annoyed that she is executing on this person's wishes, which is very nice of her, and I get it, she's being nice, she has her own relationship with them, and like, you know, all of that is tied in, and she's just like trying to convey a message, and they asked her to do this and she's just doing it, and it's very thoughtful. But it's annoying to me that at times she doesn't see that at the end of the day, I feel like I'm that person. My mom asks me if I have time to spend this week. I say no. And then this person is off the hook for like kind of visiting or checks the box and says, well, I tried to reach out to Tina and she was unavailable. So you know, then it makes me feel like I didn't make time when this person was making time and offering to come and see us and visit, and I'm the one who's saying no. And that's what bothers me the most. Like, I'm the one who's being the rude one by not making time, when in actuality, I feel like it's this other person who is being a little manipulative in this situation. So I was very annoyed by that. I conveyed this to my mom this morning, and I set the boundary where I had said, like, this is how I see the situation. I understand you might not see it that way. I'm not mad at you, but when you go back to them, please ask them to communicate directly with me, because I don't want you to be in this situation where you're mediating and going back and forth. And then my mom kind of went off on the tangent of like, well, I didn't realize we had to make plans with family. And I'm like, we do. Like, I'm shutting this down right now. Like, I've worked too hard on setting boundaries and people respecting my time, especially in my family, especially as the youngest sibling. I've always constantly gone with the flow, never questioned giving up my plans to accommodate my family. And to a point, like, that's exhausting. It doesn't need to happen. And once you start saying, no, I need a little more notice and time, then people actually will start giving it to you, because now my family does give it to me. They know how to interact and have at least somewhat of a reasonable timeline. And I'm not asking for 2 months ahead. I'm asking for like a week. It's not even that much. It's like, hey, can we just like plan ahead of time? And if I can't make it, don't hold me to this standard where I don't want to hang out with you, or I'm skipping out on hanging out with the family. Like, does anyone else have this problem? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, is this an Indian thing? Is this an Asian thing? Because I'm shutting it down. I'm shutting it down. And I don't know if that makes me the bad person, or if I'm thinking about this wrong. I don't know. So you tell me, like, what would you do? Okay, bye-bye.
This is part 2 of why my brother and his wife are not invited to our wedding this summer. So the drama really started when we decided to not have our wedding here, to have our wedding in Mexico. And I didn't think that anyone was really going to be upset about that, because there was over a year of notice, and we let everyone know this is a really big ask, and we understand that it's a destination wedding, and even though it seems pretty affordable, that it's not realistic for everybody. And when I told my brother and his wife, she immediately, without even hesitation or thinking, said, we're not going to be able to come. And when I asked, like, why is it money? What is it? And she just had every reason in the book to say that they couldn't be there. And that was really disappointing to me, because my brother's one of my favorite people in the world. And that was just really hard and really disappointing. But that's not even the big deal. The big deal was I thought that there was a chance that they would still go, and they were in town, and I planned a trip, wedding dress shopping, for the very first time with my sister-in-law and my nieces, because I really thought that it would be a fun experience to share with them. I was so excited. It was me, my mom, my sister, my sister-in-law, and then my 2 nieces. And we get to the store. I got there early, and just because I know her, I literally had to get there to apologize to the poor girl that was working that day ahead of time, because I did not know what my sister-in-law's behavior was going to be like. That in itself, I feel like, should be really telling, and I should have known better, but I was right in apologizing ahead of time. So the very first dress I put on, it had a big train, and I told the girl, you know, I don't really think I want a big train, because we're getting married in Mexico, and I just don't want to have to worry about sand and dirt and whatever. And my sister-in-law literally looks up. I'm in a wedding dress standing on the little pedestal, and she goes, so you're still planning on doing that? And all I said was, yep. And she said, well, we're not going to be there. And my heart just started racing, because I really didn't want any kind of confrontation or conflict. And so I just went and tried on another dress, and the girl was like, you were right. That was rough. And that was so embarrassing to me. I was dying. So then we go through all the dresses, and the whole time, I won't post the pictures, But the whole time, my sister's taking pictures of me in dresses. My mom's having a good time. Everyone's excited. But my sister-in-law is literally sat in the back like this. Stink face the whole time. Like, giving me the dirtiest, most hateful looks. And honestly, I don't know why I'm the one embarrassed, because really she should be embarrassed of her behavior. But that's not even the worst of it. The very, like, cherry on top moment was when I put on the last dress. It was just kind of a for fun dress. It wasn't anything I was super interested in. I put it on, I come out, and I said, oh my gosh, this is definitely not it. I look like a linebacker. This makes my shoulders look so broad. Dead-faced, looks at me in the mirror from behind me. I'm standing in the mirror looking at myself in a wedding dress, and she says, you don't look like a linebacker. You look like a prepubescent little boy. That does absolutely nothing for you. And I am not exaggerating. I am not changing words. That is exactly what she said to me. And I just had tears just well up in my eyes. And I ran to the dressing room with the girl, and I just started bawling. I was just sobbing. And she, the cute girl, she was so sweet. And she just hugged me, and she was like, I'm so sorry. That was so awful. And every time I've told this story, I feel like it sounds so made up. Like, there's no way that was real life. But it was, 100%. That is the kind of person that she is. And it was just so disappointing to me that that was the experience I had the first time I was dress shopping. And that was me extending an olive branch. I was trying to do something nice. I was really trying to pacify the situation that I didn't even cause problems in, really. And that's how I was treated. It still blows my mind to this day. And I got in the car with my sister, and I was so angry. I called my fiance, and I was like, that's it. We're done. I'm uninviting them. I want nothing to do with this. This is not fair that I was treated this way today, and that is forever going to be my first experience wedding dress shopping. And I said, I'm going to call my brother. Like, I was ready to just blow everything up and just really piss everyone off. And I decided against it because I don't want to cause problems. I don't want to be such a source of tension. And in that moment, I think it was the right decision. In hindsight, I wish I had said something sooner. All that to say, at this point, they were still invited. And there's a whole lot more that actually was the deciding factor in not inviting them. Scotty, my fiance, was the voice of reason in that moment, and said, don't do something now that you're going to regret later. And I think that that's really wise, because it's easy for me to act out of emotion. He was kind of outside the situation and understood I was upset, and made me think things through a little bit. Anyway, I think there's going to be so many parts to this. So
clear, and the ice cubes inside just makes me want to drink it.
I want to know
The rainbow
if you would be upset
foam
at your
beads
boyfriend
are so
for this
pretty to
situation.
look
I've been
at.
holding this in for a
Mixing
while,
everything
so it can
together
finally
is just
come
so
out. My fiance's
satisfying.
Christmas party
Oh,
for his
it
company
also
was
makes
obviously
tons of
at the end
bubble
of
pops.
December.
I will shut up now for you to enjoy some ASMR.
Hundreds of people, lots of other parties, Christmas parties going on too. Like, it was just a lot of people, a lot of chaos, a lot of drinking. We were having fun. Me and my fiance were having a fun night. Like, we were drinking, we were laughing, we were talking. I danced a little bit. Got to meet some of the coworkers that he sees every single day. Now, everything was going smooth until about 2 hours into the party, close to midnight. At this point, I am fucked up. So was everybody else. I go to the bathroom, and as I'm washing my hands, two of my fiance's coworkers that he works with every day, that I've never met before, start talking to me in the middle of the bathroom. And they were both messed up. One of the girls is like, we literally have been talking about it all night, and you are so pretty, and we just can't believe that you're with him. Like, you're way too good looking for him, which is not true. And I pretty much told her so. And to be honest, I was taken aback, and I probably didn't handle that situation well. Looking back, I should have just slapped a bitch. Some of you probably already know where this is going. I was just like, what? Like, he's an amazing person. He's an amazing father, like a great fiance. Like, I love him so much. So they're going on and on and on about how I am out of his league. I leave the bathroom. We go out, we go walk on Bourbon Street. We go to some clubs. We come back to the hotel. As we are getting in the elevator, this girl calls my fiance, and she says, my friend, the other girl in the bathroom, she is so trashed. She's wasted. She's throwing up. I don't know what to do. She's crying. So us being nice people, we jump into action, right? We get on the elevator. We go to their room. As soon as we get in there, the girl that called grabs my fiance into an embrace, like a hug. I didn't like it, but I was like, she's drunk. She's young. Obviously, like, not been in this situation before and just needs help. I did not think much more of it. I thought it was weird, but I was like, whatever. She's kind of like freaking out. So he stays with her. I go in the bathroom to help the girl who's sick. So when I'm in the bathroom, I'm like holding her hair, trying to give her water, and she's insisting that she's okay. And y'all, she was fine. She was older than me. She was probably in her mid to late 30s. Like, she was good. She told me, like, I'm good, I got it. Like, she was kind of like, I'm all right. So, like, the girl was messed up, but not to the point where they needed help from us or anybody. Now I'm starting to get suspicious. I'm like, why the fuck did they call us up here? So I grab my fiance and we leave the room. As we are walking out, he says, she was trying to pull me on the ground. She was like trying to pull me down onto the bed, on the ground, like trying to get me to embrace her. She was trying to pull some slick shit, basically, while I was in the bathroom with her friend. So literally, right as the hotel door closes behind us, I turned around. I wish the door would have been open because I was like, what the fuck, bitch? Like, what is your issue? Like, you need to chill the fuck out. She didn't say anything back to me, but my fiance like grabbed me. He's like, let's go. I'm heated. We go to the room where this man proceeds to tell me that she's been hitting on him for months, like making comments about how he's out of my league, looking at me and his picture on the desk like, oh, you could do better or something like that. Like he didn't say exactly the things that she said, but that's what I gathered. Now, personally, although I know it would make me upset to hear that kind of thing, I wish I would have known, because that whole situation at the Christmas party could have been avoided. I hate being out here looking stupid. I hate looking stupid like that. Like, I'm the last one to know. I don't fucking like that shit at all. I didn't give him a hard time about it, but I was just like, I wish I would have known. Because if I would have known that she's been hitting on you, I would have known what she was trying to pull from the moment that she talked to me in the bathroom. When I brought this up in front of some males, they were on his side. They were like, we're not going to tell y'all stuff like that because we don't want to upset you. And for what? So I see both sides. I'm empathetic, but being the person on this side doesn't feel great.
My dad's 28-year-old girlfriend has started momming me. Now, maybe for a helpful reference, I'm 26 years old. So this woman is only 2 years older than me. And when my dad first introduced her to the entire family, he said that she was 34, but my internet swooped that because she did not look that old. I was like, I need to know who does your Botox, because if you're really 34, you look great. And yeah, she wasn't 34. Actually, the first time I met this woman, she was only 24 years old and I was 22. Her and my dad dated, and then they broke up for 2 years, and I thought that was the end of her. I was never going to see that woman again, thank goodness. But no, guess who turned up at my Thanksgiving dinner this year? Unannounced, unexpected, my sister. I mean, like, stepmom, I don't know. Obviously, it's always been a little bit of a weird dynamic between the two of us because she's practically my age and dating my father. But we've always managed to just get away with some polite small talk. I've never really tried to get to know her much. Can you blame me? And normally, she just minds her own business. She just kind of stays near my dad and knows the situation is weird. But that all changed during our family vacation this weekend. My dad, my sister, and I always go to his cabin one weekend out of the year just to hang out, catch up. It's a cute little family tradition. But imagine my surprise when I pulled up and I saw none other than my dad's girlfriend. It grosses me out to even say that, considering the age. There. Like, we didn't get any warning. None. He did not tell us she was coming. And honestly, if he wanted to bring her, fine. That's his choice. He can do whatever he wants. But at least let us know so you don't just blindside us. And let's be honest, I could never imagine this woman spending an entire weekend in the woods. She's basically my dad's sugar baby. He does every single thing for her, pays all of her bills. He buys her everything that she wants. She only wears designer things, drives a really nice car that my dad bought. My dad never bought my sister and I a car nearly that nice. She basically lives this life of luxury on my dad's dime. That girl looked like a baby deer getting out of the car and trying to walk over all of the dirt and the leaves in her Louboutins. Like, girly, I love Louboutins, but there's a time and a place for those, and a cabin in the woods is not that time or that place. And immediately, like right when we get inside the cabin, she starts being really weird and just making it clear that my sister and I are from totally different generations than her. For example, She was explaining to us what Vine was. She was like, oh, back in my day when we had Vine and not TikTok, it was the best. I wish you had a chance to experience it. I was like, yeah, I mean, I did experience it. I had Vine. We're the same age. Then later, my sister and I were just making fun of each other, as sisters do, poking fun at each other, laughing, having a good time. She comes in from the other room and goes, girl, stop it. In a super, disciplinarian tone. I'm like, who are you talking to? Which girls are you talking to? You cannot possibly be talking to me and my sister. I guess she thought my sister and I were in a fight or something, but we could not even help it. We burst out laughing. It was absolutely ridiculous. She was acting like we were 7-year-olds fighting over a toy or something. Then, when my sister is going to take a shower, she practically body slams her out of the way and is like, wait, before you shower, let me explain to you how the shower works, because it can be really confusing. This is our family cabin that we've lived in for weekends at a time for years since we were little girls, and we know how the shower works. But that's what she would do. She would just talk to us like we were an idiot the entire weekend about actually everything. She made it seem like we were 7 years old and didn't know how anything would work. She also kept referring to my sister and I as the girls. Like, don't the girls just look so cute tonight? Always cute. Never pretty, beautiful, anything. Cute. The girls look cute tonight. Look. The craziest thing that she did, and what got us into a fight, is when my sister and I were watching a movie at about 10:30 p.m. on Saturday night. And she waltzes into the living room and says, okay, girls, it's time for bed. Time for bed? Since when did I have a bedtime? And I am still trying to be nice to the girl, okay, for my dad's sake. So I say, oh, we're just finishing up this movie and then we're going to head to bed. And she said, no, that's not what I said. I said it's time for bed right now. It's time for the adults to be awake right now and have some adult time without the kids around. Adults? The kids? You're 2 years older than me. You were dating my dad when you were younger than me. But I lose it at this point. I look at her and I say, you can play house, you can leech off my dad, but don't come in here and patronize me and my sister. I told her, I do not want to be in a fight with you, and I promise you, that is not a fight that you want to pick or that you would win. She goes right off crying to my dad about how mean I was to her. Like, girl, I have been nice to you for years, even though the situation is weird. So, you should be lucky this is the first time I actually went at you. I don't know what to do at this point because it seems like ignoring her isn't an option anymore.